Jason, recently we introduced a new series. You kind of sprung it on me of what does AI look like 1,000 years from now?
1,000 days.
1,000 years from now. Yeah. Who knows? 1,000 days from now. Yes. 1,000 days from now. And we talked about what's called emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
As topic one. What's topic two?
Tim, I think that we're going to have regulation forcing things such as voice authentication deprecated. I don't think... This is just me throwing out a ball at you, Tim. I'm going to have you react.
I mean, we recently talked about this idea that voice authentication is just completely and utterly blown.
Yep.
Just as blown can get.
And I think that the financial industries that are the ones who invested heavily in that are going to be reluctant to get rid of it. And I think it might require legislation, regulation.
So if my account is taken over and stolen because of a flaw in their voice authentication, which, by the way, might be something that I choose not to use, right? This is the thing we run into a lot with security. You say, oh, well, I'm not doing that bad practice. Well, if the door is open for someone else to do it, it doesn't matter if you're not.
Precisely.
Right? Then can I make the bank make me whole? Does the bank have to give me my money back?
That's part of what I'm saying. In 1,000 days, some of these questions are going to have to be answered. In other words, is it going to be like, okay, I possess a credit card. Yeah. If there's fraud on the credit card, I have to be made whole. Right?
That was the analogy I was thinking about.
There's risk calculations at the financial institutions who already know how to deal with this. So those are the risk experts.
So then you could imagine under those circumstances, you could imagine the same way that there are risk engines now where, I remember it was a CA browser forum meeting in Bratislava and I had to change my flight. And I went in to change my flight and I was blocked because they're like, what the hell are you doing in Slovakia? Right. And I was really in Slovakia and I basically had to prove it. Right. You could imagine those kind of risk metrics going on around something like voice authentication as well. Look, this is coming from, we know it's your phone number and it's your voice. We'll let it through. It's a different phone number and it's your voice. We won't. Right?
Right.
That kind of thing.
Sure. So, and how it all unfolds? I'm not pretending to have the slightest clue.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is, in the 1,000-day period from now to 1,000 days from now, something's going to shake out.
So here's the challenge I have with that. Let me challenge that. I agree with your assessment about the technology and its progress. I would agree with your assessment about the bad guys and their prowess and their fact that they're going to use this. And, they're always on the cutting edge. You want to predict which part I disagree with?
Go for it.
The efficiency of government.
Oh, but that's why I gave it that's why I gave it 3 years.
Okay. Government just is so bad at technology.
So what you and I are doing right now is playing over-under on government being able to do anything in 3 years.
Yeah, and I think I'm taking the over.
Okay.
Right. I think that's the main trouble. I just can't imagine your average legislature or even your average government agency wrapping its head around this to the point where it can understand and put through that kind of regulation before it's a serious problem. Now, it may be that it becomes a serious problem soon enough.
That's what my thinking is.
Puts the spurs to the government.
That's why I give it the under.
Yeah.
Because I think even government will have to go, whoa. Right.
If it's a sudden rampant problem.
Here's what...
Now, the other thing that could happen is that...
The banks do the right thing.
The banks could just decide this is effing crazy. I'm going to turn it off. Or I could be given a customer configurable thing where I go into my account and say, disable voice authentication for this account.
Yeah, opt-outs.
Right? Opt-outs there or opt-in. Right? I mean, there's other ways that could be structured that would at least mitigate the problem.
Right. There's a lot of things that could happen or not happen here. That's what makes this interesting.
Yeah.
Because if you map out all the possibilities from now, like what happens, I'm making a big assumption that there will be account takeovers. Well,
I think so.
if there's enough account takeovers, something has to happen. So, okay, on your mind map, now where's the decision tree? Well, either the banks go, this is too much risk, we're out of this. Like, we're not using that as an authenticator anymore. We're going to follow Sam Altman's advice.
So let me ask you this question. And I shouldn't probably know the answer to this, but I don't, but you may. Account takeover can occur other ways today that doesn't involve voice authentication. If a different account takeover occurs, I get phished or whatever, do I just lose my money or does the bank have to make me whole?
In Canada, I would have to prove that something bad happened at the account level and there is government insurance on my account.
So you imagine that becomes the avenue where this progresses. Whatever protections and procedures are in place for a non-voice recognition AI-based account takeover, such as a phishing attack, that becomes where this conversation at least starts.
I'm going to take back what I just said.
Okay.
But not that it changes anything we're talking about right now, but I just realized that what the Canadian government insurance is protecting me for is if my bank goes under.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not protecting me if there's an account takeover.
Right.
Now, lawyers could tell me otherwise. Okay, I'm happy to be correct.
We obviously didn't do any research walking. Clearly, we didn't do any research walking in this episode.
But
might be worth a little research. We might do a future one.
Yeah, no. But the thing, the point to this podcast was to say, straight up, without any research at all, something's going to go down on this in 1,000 days.
Oh, for sure. There will be account takeovers for sure. It's an obvious attack, right? And it won't just be bank accounts. They're an obvious one because there's money there. But anything that might use this kind of recognition, and people might use it to get into your trading account or your tax filing and get your dividends sent to them or your refund sent to them, or you could imagine identity theft scenarios. You could imagine even simple things like log into my hotel and steal my points. Yeah, like all of these things. These are all areas where account takeover is a real possibility, right? Log into my package delivery service and get my package shipped to different addresses. Log into my online retailer and buy stuff I didn't buy, right? All of that is now a possibility if they allow voice recognition, voice signature, I think they call it, to authenticate.
Yeah, and for those of you who are listening to this and wondering what the heck we're talking about when you call up a bank, the bank, in order to be able to know that it's you who's saying, make changes to this account, could be something as simple as, I lost my password for my account. Help me to restate it. Okay, well, let's prove it's you. Let's ask you some knowledge-based questions. And by the way, we've got this voice authentication system that a lot of people are already enrolled in sometimes without even knowing it.
Sure.
Okay, it's just because you've called in previously.
Right.
They took a
and that's
Voiceprint.
what's interesting about it. Where I've seen that show up in the past is it's not like I sign up for it. It's like I'm giving, because I thought about this when it happened, I'm given the option to use this voice recognition system. And me, of course, being a technophile, I go, oh yeah, let's try that. And then I thought about how did this happen? And I said, okay, there must be recordings of my previous interactions where I authenticated another way. And probably it had the little prompt at the beginning saying, this may be recorded for quality. So I probably consented, right? And those recordings are stored somewhere. And then they use that as the beginning to make a voice print.
100%. And by the way,
right,
if you work at a bank and you manage one of these voice authentication systems, and there's something that we've said that is completely wrong, or if you completely disagree with the concept, that it's somehow at risk because of
find
AI.
me on LinkedIn. Yell at me like the other people do, and we'll talk to you. We'll dialogue, and maybe we'll have you on.
I would love to have you on to say I would love to hear the other side of the story.
Sure. The other thing that just occurred to me is you were talking in an early episode not that long ago about this idea of how do I know that my data have been deleted? Well, geez, you've got me thinking now. Everybody who is recording my call for quality now has what it needs, now has the raw data that a bad guy needs to voice spoof me, to AI counterfeit my voice associated with who I am. Right? So that becomes another honeypot. Like that's another payload that I can harvest. If I get into your network and own you, I could take these voices and their metadata, and that could be the starting point for Voiceprint-based attacks. I now turn around and I spray and pray that on, I get this for one system. I turn around and spray and pray it at every bank in North America until I find the one that matches an account and take the money.
So Tim,
it's kind of like a password reuse attack.
Tim,
only I don't have to.
It's a replay attack.
Only I don't have to. Yeah, I don't have to reuse a password because I do reuse my voice.
Right.
Oh God, I'm never going to sleep tonight.
But that's why we do these podcasts.
Yeah.
Because even if we're not right,
you
pointed out, we didn't do research on this.
Not right?
It doesn't even matter. We're always right. Of course, we're always right. My point being, it doesn't take long into a conversation. Just you and I.
Yeah.
That's what these podcasts are for. It's just you and I having a conversation.
Yeah. I mean, this is real. I mean, there is no way that some flavor of what we're discussing today, some flavor does not become a real attack vector. It won't be exactly like we're discussing, but it's going to rhyme with it. And it's going to build on a lot of the same ideas. And this is a sure thing.
I guarantee that within 1,000 days, like 1,000 days might be way over, like in terms of over under.
Yeah.
Okay. It may be way over. We could be looking at this in 6 months as being a major deal.
Because all the tools are there. They're cost effective. You can do this from anywhere in the world, right? Again, what is the preferred method of this? Someplace where law enforcement does not care about fraud against people in the US or fraud against people in Europe, where police enforcement is going to be low and extradition is going to be impossible. They set up a shop and they run these attacks against other countries where there's not really going to be a lot of risk of criminal prosecution.
I got another one for you, just to throw it into the soup.
Yeah.
Telco companies. I lost my BYOD. I need to change my cell phone number. SIM swap me, please.
Yeah.
No problem. You've been voice authenticated. Mm-hmm. Good to go.
Yeah. Definitely not sleeping. Wow. Yeah. I think you're right on all of this. Now, again, what's the problem? What's the solution? The solution is you cease voice authentication. So if you do that, number one, what has historically been a real handy tool and a great user experience, because we all have our voice, we all know how to say back words that it reads over to me, that is lost to all of us. And the whole lost password scenario that's so horrible and aggravating anyway just continues to be horrible and aggravating.
Tim, I'm biased, but it's like for my own personal banking, I would love if I could go to my bank and get like a YubiKey.
Yeah.
And even if I lost my YubiKey, my God, imagine that. Yeah. You'd want that, everything revoked ASAP kind of thing. But the way it works right now
Mm-hmm.
ain't okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, everything that I could throw at you from a business to consumer standpoint is not good or easy, but my God, the way we're doing it just sucks.
And the fundamental problem here, I'm going to return to my lack of faith in the government argument. The fundamental problem here, which has always been the story of Tech Forever, and has been a problem with Tech Forever, is that the ability to make the machines do new tricks, do things better, has perpetually, for the last 50 years, outpaced the ability for our societal structures to adjust. And this is things like law or rule of law, but it's also things like how we set up our banking networks and what our business contract rules are and all of that stuff, right? And the same way that Forge Now, Trust Now, Forge Later, we're digitally signing things left and right. All of those things, by virtue of signing something, you have created a Trust Now, Forge Later attack on yourself, right? I mean, the difference between harvest and decrypt is I might be harvested and decrypted, but I didn't create my own harvest and decrypt, right? I was a victim of someone else. Mm-hmm. If I sign something digitally, I am literally attacking myself with a Trust Now, Forge Later.
The act of trusting is you.
And yet, people are still doing it because the mechanisms of society and our norms and our beliefs and our laws and our regulations and our practices cannot keep up with technology. And the same problem is going to occur here.
So Tim,
did bring it back.
I
took a little longer, but I came back.
No, I'm going to bring it really, really back, which is, Tim, we said here on this podcast, AI is the room.
Yeah.
And if you just look at AI 1,000 days from now, none of what we've talked about in this little series is even Star Trek yet.
Right.
This is like normal, everyday society, pragmatic stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is just one foot in front of the other, and we're going to get there. There's no weird science in this.
That's why that's why I thought the 1,000-day idea, which wasn't my idea, it was an AI's idea.
I know.
AI said,
Go figure.
Consider it 1,000 days from now. I was like, that's a really good time frame.
Yeah.
And the whole point is that, wow, society will not look the same, even on basic stuff.
Still most definitely, absolutely not sleeping tonight.
It's going to be a tough one.
Okay. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Tim.